me is Gail Craig-Archer, the Senior Office Administrator at the BOA and the woman behind the administrative work that supports the participation of Barbados' teams in major games such as the Olympics, Pan Am Games, and Commonwealth Games. Welcome, Gail.
Thank you.
Tell us what your job entails as it relates to games preparation.
Oh, that's a tall task. For games preparation, from the time a games is awarded to a country, Barbados as a member of the Commonwealth Games Federation or a member as a NOC, which is a National Olympic Committee, we would be able to get the information. We know exactly when the games are. They are 4 years out, they're 6 years out, depending. And from then the preparation starts. The committee, the BOA, the executive committee, would determine who the chef de mission would be for those games. And as soon as information starts rolling in from the country, we start getting it. So we start preparing. What we would then do is go to the national federations and request their long list. Now their long list would contain every person, athlete and official, who could possibly make the team. So for instance, for CAC games, my long list might be 400 people, but in truth and in fact, only maybe 120 out of those 400 will attend. So at that stage, when we were doing the long list, we would be capturing information like their passport number, making sure their passports are valid for 6 months after the close of the games, their visas, because as you know, we live on an island and our gateway is through the US. So we make sure that everybody's visas are valid, everybody has the correct type of visa for travel, etc. So it's at that point that we start that process.
Wow. Administratively, is there anything special happening for Tokyo 2020?
Yes, there's a lot happening for Tokyo that we've never had before at any games. Granted, each game has its own unique set of variables. Tokyo, because of COVID, have asked for a lot of stuff. Each country must appoint what they've called a COVID Liaison Officer. Right now, we're in the process of creating an activity plan. Each country must have an activity plan. We're going into the games. Tokyo has to get this 4 weeks before we travel. They have something called the ICON system, which stands for the Infection Control System. So we must upload each person's data 2 weeks out into this system. 4 weeks before you travel, you must have their flight itinerary uploaded. You must have the places they're going to visit. And they've given you a list of places that you can visit. If you're going to go outside of that, you must let them know. They've also, like you would have heard, they're introducing the temperature checks and everything like that. For everyone, they have a restriction on visitors entering Japan during the games period. So for persons to enter Japan, you must have what they call the PVC, which is the pre-valid card, it will act as your accreditation as well. But for entry into the country, each athlete and official must have this card beforehand. Mm-hmm. So when I receive those PVCs, I have to then send them out via FedEx or whatever courier to each person who does not live on the island. So that's all the athletes all over the world, wherever they are, because they have to use this to get into Japan. So these games are different, whereas there's no outside the village socializing. There's nothing like that. You can't visit any of the other sports. The athletes can only arrive 5 days before their actual event, before the actual sport competes, and then they have to leave, I think, like 24 hours after. So it's very different, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes together.
Wow, that's a lot. For the last Olympics, our ceremony uniform received high praises from the announcers. Can you tell me who will be the designer this year? Is it the same person?
No. The designer this year, the committee, there's a uniforms committee who oversees the designs and the purchasing, etc., of all the equipment that we use for what we call ceremonial and delegation gear. This time around, the committee got together, and a member of the committee, Gloria Chung, she drew the designs with the input and help from the other members of the committee. So we will see how it comes off. It was designed to take into consideration the very hot conditions in Japan. So it's very lightweight, and because we need something that will breathe easily on the athletes and officials in the opening ceremony.
Wow, I can't wait to see it. Who is the uniform sponsor this year?
For the opening ceremony, there's not a sponsor. For the what we call delegation gear, which will be like walk around gear in the village, etc. Puma is working with the Athletics Association and in turn with us to provide the uniforms for the team.
Puma, nice. My final question is, and I'm sure everybody watching would want to know this one as well. Can we buy this gear after the Olympics?
Unfortunately, no. Because there will not be enough of it. Because the team is small. This time around, we wouldn't have a lot of excess. So there would not be a lot of this for sale, not the Olympic gear per se. No, sorry.
Okay.